Hi, everyone, and thanks for coming to today's session on social media for the flooring industry. To get started, if everyone could get in the chat or the comments and give me an idea of where we are with your level of expertise. Do you feel like you're an expert? Do you feel like you're a newbie? Do you feel like you're somewhere in the middle? Because I want to talk to you and give you the level of information that you're looking for. So we'll give everybody a couple minutes to do that. And then while we're doing that, I will give you a little bit of background. I have been in the flooring and construction industry for 25 years and been doing social media for the industry for the last 14. It is something that I eat, drink, and sleep all the time. I'm very passionate about it, and I love educating and helping, especially women like you. So I'm looking forward to sharing some insights today from the last 14 years. And in my experience, I've done everything from residential flooring sales, commercial, residential design, commercial design, a little bit of everything. And when I decided to leave face-to-face interaction with Susie Homeowner and decided to take it to the internet, I got the luxury of starting the blog for the World Floor Covering Association in 2007. And got that up to about 15,000 readers a month and figured there was something to this social media thing. So I wanted to find a way to help as many people as I could via the internet instead of face-to-face with direct flooring sales and interior design. So we've got one that says we're in the middle, which is great. If at any point I'm going too fast or too slow or you want to change it up, just shoot me a message in the comments and Michelle will let me know, or hopefully I'll take a look and see them. So I thought today we would cover the things that generally I get asked the most and that are the most popular and most helpful. So those things include what type of content to create, what tools to use in order to be more efficient and maximize your time. And everyone seems to want to talk about hashtags, so we're going to touch on that today. And we'll touch a little bit on some things that you might want to avoid and not do, because I think you can learn a lot about how to be successful by avoiding some of the top things that maybe you don't want to do. So first, let's talk about content, because content, as we know, is the hardest thing to come up with. It's the hardest thing to create. And you really want to think about your social media not as an online billboard, but you want to think about it as an opportunity to tell your story and to provide a solution for your target client. So typically when I do these, I'm talking to a male-dominated audience and the conversation's a little bit different. So I want to ease your mind and let you know that when you're starting out in social media and you're female, you've got a leg up on most people because women tend to want to be more of storytellers and be more helpful and, you know, provide some free helpful advice without talking about price so much or without talking about, that hard sell. So I want you to think about who you are talking to in social media, like who your target customer is, and try to craft your messaging around that target customer. So for example, if I'm your target customer, I'm 45 years old, I have a good job, I can afford to buy new floors, and I love my home. My home is very important to me. So if I am your target customer, I want you to think about, when I've done this at work all day and I've gotten the laundry done and I've cooked dinner and done all those things, when I get on social media at night, I'm in a mindset where I'm not expecting to be sold. So if you'll think about that, if you're like this, when you're, at night, you've got your feet up on the coffee table, you got a glass of wine in one hand, you got your iPad in the other hand, and you're scrolling through social to see who went out to dinner, who had a baby, and who ate a grilled cheese sandwich, right? You want to think about your business message being very gently inserted into that conversation. So you don't want to punch somebody in the face after they're seeing, oh, so-and-so's kid started school today and, so-and-so did a walk for Alzheimer's. You don't want to punch people in the face and say, hey, we've got hardwood for $2.99, because that's not what she's expecting to hear in that mindset. So think about who you're talking to and try to craft some content that is helpful to that person. Again, not that women would do this typically, but a lot of guys will want to get on social media because there's a ton of people on it and they want to get on and say, okay, well, if I just post, some good content, then all of a sudden I'm going to be famous and I'm going to have more traffic coming through the doors than I know what to do with. And that's just not the case. So when we're talking about creating content, I'm smiling because if, you think about when you allot time to do your social media and you sit down at your desk and you look at your computer and you're staring like, oh my God, what am I going to say today? If you'll have a plan and get a little bit organized, you can actually enjoy this and have it not be such a burden. So I encourage you to write down 5 different categories of different types of content that you want to talk about. So you want to talk about things that you can actually keep track of and make sure that you get done. So if you don't know those 5 things, then I can help you with coming up with those 5 things. So obviously at any point that you want to inspire a woman and show her a beautiful room scene or a beautiful project, then that's going to help her see, I want this, and this is who I can get it from. So anytime you can inspire somebody, that's a great piece of content. Anytime that you can show a before and after, that is what I call social media currency. So if someone sees that they have you've posted a before picture of a builder white bathroom, and then your after picture is of, this gorgeous personal spa retreat. If you will post that side by side, all a woman needs to see to make a connection to choose you is, I have that builder white bathroom and I want that personal spa retreat. So posting before and afters are a fantastic way to shortcut the whole psychological process that happens with social media. So I want to encourage you to take as many pictures as you can of jobs. Always get permission before you post, anything with a person, a baby, someone else's home, just to be respectful, because you never know if people don't want people to know that they, for example, can afford to remodel. And at this point, when it's face-to-face, I get a lot of looks where people say, yeah, but I can't get anybody to take a picture. So if you have that issue, I want to remind you or tell you that get your estimator to take a picture, make it part of their job, or get the installer to take a picture at the beginning of the project and tell them that you're doing that so that, God forbid the homeowner complains about something being missing or something being broken, then you can say, hey, installer, you took a picture before so we can prove that this is how, this was all done when we got to the house. And then after the job is finished, you don't necessarily always want the installer to take a picture right when it's finished, because, the furniture's not put back in place, the pictures aren't hanging back on the wall, the knickknacks aren't on the coffee table. So what you can do is go to the customer and say, hey, send them an email or call them and say, hey, we had a really great experience with you and your project is the buzz of the office. We would love to put it on our website and we would love to put it on our social media. If you do that, you are basically telling her that she's pretty, she's smart, and you approve of her project. So what's she going to do? She's going to like your page. She's going to go tell all of her friends, and you're going to get a beautiful before and after, and you're going to get a lot of love in the meantime. You can also, at that time, when you're asking in an email, you can also ask for a review if it's, if you think that you're going to get a 4 or 5 star review out of it. So that's before and after and inspiration. Some other topics that you want to talk about on social media, because remember, social media, the word social is in social media. So you want to talk about the culture of your business. Show people, maybe a quote from the owner, or meet the team. Do an interview every week where you feature a different team member. And maybe you ask them 3 different questions. You say, hey, number 1 is, how long have you been working for XYZ company? Number 2, why do you love your job? And then number 3, do something fun and social and personable, and maybe say, like, what's your favorite snack at 3 o'clock in the morning? And if somebody says, their favorite snack is, I don't know, Oreos with crushed up Reese's Pieces over, I don't know, butter pecan ice cream, something odd like that. If I see that, then I'm going to think, God, those are my people. They know me. So I'm going to have an instant connection with them. And with social media, just as a basic reminder, your goal is always to put out good content that is going to start a conversation, and hopefully that conversation is going to turn into a relationship. And ideally that relationship turns into referrals and a very satisfied customer telling other people who they should choose. Because if you have the opportunity, if you're trying to buy something or do something in your home and you ask another woman, you're going to trust what another woman has to tell you based on the experience that she had versus an ad or pretty much anything else. So from a culture standpoint, if you can post people, if you do anything community minded, if you do a walk for Alzheimer's, if you I don't know, do a cookout for your installers, if you do anything that is human, that content is going to get more organic, free engagement than most anything else. So you want to find that balance of not talking about flooring all the time, because ain't nobody wants to hear about flooring all the time. But also you have people that may have just bought from you. You may have people that haven't bought from you yet and haven't decided. So you're going to have a different mix of people. So you want to have a different mix of content. So from a culture standpoint, you can, if you have a company dog, please use the dog. If you have a baby, a cute baby, and you feel comfortable using that baby, then definitely that's social media currency. If you remember back in the day, the Stainmaster ad where the dad was laying on the floor playing with the baby, every woman in America thought, if I buy Stainmaster carpet, then my husband's all of a sudden going to come home and want to play with the baby on the floor. And that's all it took. She wanted a Stainmaster carpet. So anytime that you can tell a story with your social media, use dogs and babies, because who doesn't like dogs and babies? The other great thing about dogs and babies is when you're in a social media mindset, there are things that happen in your brain. So when you see something that makes you feel good, it releases chemicals in your brain that make you feel good. When that happens and somebody sees your logo attached to that, you get that chemical association with feel good. So it's just a cool, easy thing to do. Another thing that's very helpful is posting reviews and testimonials. If someone says something great about you, like, for example, if somebody writes on, we had a great experience with XYZ flooring. People trust what other people say about you 80% more than they trust what you have to say. But if you can get that testimonial and put it into a nice, pretty graphic, or you can get a picture of that customer and then do a little quote side by side with an actual human saying those things. Or if you get a handwritten thank you note, take that handwritten thank you note and scan it and put that on your social media, because you can't make that up. Like, you can't just, you can't type that and say that this was a testimonial. We know for sure. Take that one step further. And if you can get that customer to do a 10-second testimonial on video and say, let's go back to that first thought. If someone writes down and says, I had the best experience with XYZ flooring, that's fantastic. But if somebody says on video, oh my gosh, I was so nervous to get flooring, but then I started working with XYZ flooring and I had the best experience, and they cleaned up when they left and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. You can't buy that kind of, that's social media currency. So think about things like that. And if you can do that, you're also empowering the person that you're asking, and you're saying, again, because, social media is a little bit like high school. So if you tell somebody that they're pretty and they're smart and you approve of them, then you're going to get the goods. So other things that you can do are ask questions. Ask people, would you rather? Ask them, do you prefer, kitchen A or kitchen B? And try to get some engagement, try to get some conversation going. And by asking a question, that shows that you care about the person's, you care about them. If you will ask a question on a weekend, you're probably going to get more engagement, because people are on, social media all times throughout the day. They're on it, right before they go into a meeting. So if you want to post at 10 minutes to the top of the hour, you got a pretty good chance of catching those people who have finished their work right before they start the next meeting or the next call or the next thing. But if you post things that are engaging or endorsing releasing on the weekends, then you're going to have a better chance, like I said, of engagement. And we're going to touch on, I'm trying to decide if I want to do it now or later, but I think I might do both. So one thing about this content, when you're putting out good content, if you do this, if you do your social media full time, it's exhausting to do your content yourself. You also know it's exhausting when you get crickets and nobody responds to you and nobody says anything back to you. So if you can do things that get organic engagement, then that tells Facebook, Instagram, all the social sites that your content is popular, and they're going to show it to more people organically or for free. So if you're frustrated with your post, only reaching 3 people, you need to know that these social sites are only going to show your content to about 5 to 7% of your total social community for free. So they're going to do that just to let you in the game. But then if you will have you or your employees or someone share your post or comment on a post or like a post, that's going to help the algorithm say that this is popular, and it's going to help increase that organic engagement. if you want to take that to the next level, because you're going to get to a point where if you put out good content and it's not going anywhere and your reports aren't, knocking your socks off, then you're going to want to, I would recommend putting $5 on a post and boosting it on Facebook and Instagram, or doing a Pinterest promoted pin. Because at the end of the day, $5 might could get you in front of 300 more people. And when it gets you in front of those people, you get to decide who they are. So you get to go into the targeting and say, for this particular message, I want to target women who are 25 and up that live in a certain zip code. And if you're mindful about the type of messaging that you're sending and the type of audience that you're trying to connect to, then, if you could get in front of 300 people for $5, that's, to me, like, I don't know how else you could get that kind of exposure. Like, you can't take 300 people to coffee for one $5 deal. So I'd recommend, if you're frustrated with the amount of reach that your organic content is getting, then try throwing $5 on a post. Or now you can click the button to automatically boost your best post. And you can say, hey, I want to give this $20 a month, or I want to give it $1 a day, and see what that does. And then if you're the owner, look at your insights and see, how much reach you're getting, and see if that's worth it to you. Or if you have to report to your owner with your social media, show them, hey, look, I put $5 on this. If we put 20, this is what would happen. And to me, at the end of the day, it's a cheap date to put a little bit of extra money on your content to get it out to a broader audience, because there's value in putting out content and talking to your existing audience, but there's also a lot of value in putting out content that you're going to get to a much broader audience. The next type of content topic I want to talk about is video. Video is the hottest, most popular thing, and it's popular for a lot of reasons. So we'll go back to a little bit of history. So when social media first started, everybody would just type a couple of sentences, or some people got very talkative and they would talk a lot, but it was all words, and that was fine. But as people's attention spans keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter, then we had to add a picture, and then we had to make the picture jump or dance, and then we had to make everything a graphic to go with our content. And then our attention spans got to where we're like goldfish right now, which is about 8 seconds. So you are trying to compete with all of the other noise out there in social media, which I'm not recommending that you try to compete with all the noise, because it's impossible and it's exhausting. But when you're doing the best you can with what you have and you're trying to get somebody's attention, you can either create a great graphic and make it, jump or dance or whatever. Please still keep it very professional. Please don't make it too, carnival-y. But if you can do video, that's going to tell your story a lot faster. It's going to tell it a lot more accurately, and it's going to help people make that connection that's why we're all here. We're literally here on the planet to make other human connections, and we are on social media in order to make connections. Those connections then turn into relationships, which turn into, sales for your business. So if you're not comfortable with video, I recommend that you just pick up your phone all the time and just put it up here and just start talking to yourself and practicing with video, or shooting video of other things. If you go visit the job sites, take some video of what's going on. Be mindful that you're not filming any kind of OSHA violation. Make sure your job site looks clean and looks representative of how you're going to run the business. But keep trying video until you're comfortable, because it is an incredibly powerful way to get your message across. So I think those are, checking my list, are 5 different types of content. So if any of those appeal to you, write down your top 5 and you can do it a couple of different ways. You can take a blank calendar, and I recommend that you post 3 times a week. That's not a have to, it's not for everybody, but it's a general somewhere in the middle. And I'll tell you why. Some brands and some communities can get away with posting every single day. You need to look at your insights on the back end of your social sites, or look at your reporting to see if that's working for you or not. If it's working for you, great. If you're starting to lose followers, or if you start to see, all of your numbers go down, then why put yourself through the stress of having to post 5 days a week or 7 days a week when it's not working for you anyway? At the end of the day, nobody wants to hear from a flooring store every single day. It doesn't mean that every single post that you do is going to get pushed out to every single person in your community. So try to find that balance somewhere in the middle. If you're new to this, or this is one of 50 things that you have to do because women wear 900 hats, then try to post at a minimum 1 great piece of content a week. But if you can do 3, then great. Michelle says she's going to make a PDF with a calendar. That's awesome. So if you will take that blank calendar and go through and the first week do topic 1, 2, 3, and then the second week do topic 4, 5, and then leave a blank spot for, just so it's not so pre-canned and planned, for things that come up that are local and happening what's in the now. That will save you so much brain power and so much time, because again, if you have that feeling that I was talking about, that you sit down, it's time to do your social media, and you know your business well, and you know your customer well, and you've taken all these classes and you know all these things, but you're still exhausted and you have no idea what to say, that will give you a roadmap. If you want to take it one step further, you can use software to help you out. So there's lots of software out there. You're probably familiar with Hootsuite, Sprout Social. There's a ton out there. I use one called Loomly, Loomly, and I like it because it's really clean and it's simple, and it does a lot of different things. You get to look at your calendar at a glance, so you can see, okay, great. I did a review. I talked about Anderson Tough Techs. I did, meet the team. I posted about the dog. I did a baby. And then when it's time for you to come up with the next thing, you can say, okay, I've done those things, but I haven't done, a before and after, or, whatever it is that you haven't done. You can visually see what's missing, and that can help you kind of get going a little bit faster. The other thing I like about it is it goes through and you get to, first you name the topic that you're talking about. Then you go in and you choose the different social media sites. So you can, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those, you select that. You go to the next part and you enter your generic information, which means the gist of what you want to say on the post and the image or the video. Then you get to fine tune each channel. So for example, if you say this much on Facebook and you're going to need to shorten it for Twitter, you've got the foundation of it. So you just go right in and shorten it. You're not bouncing around from, I'm doing Instagram on my phone, I'm doing Twitter on my computer, I'm doing Facebook in another tab, because, when we're multitaskers and if we see something shiny, we're, probably not going to stay on this thing. So it kind of helps you stay on track. Then you go over to Instagram, and that's where you're going to want to add more hashtags, which we're going to get on that topic in a second. And then if you get on LinkedIn, you might want to change the voice of the whole thing entirely to a more business focused type of post. And then the other cool thing is when you get to this section where I'm talking about, it gives you a little checklist. So everything's in red. And then if you choose, it will tell you and guide you for the best day and time to post. So if you choose the best day and time, it'll turn green. If you add an image, it'll turn green and say, great job. If your content is short enough, it will say, good job. So when you get the 6 green things, it's cool because, we like to check things off and women like to do things well, but it's also really great because if you're going to put in the time and effort into creating good content, it's nice to know that you're hitting all of the points that are going to make that post successful. And from there, you can schedule it, you can submit it to somebody for approval. If your boss has to take a look at it or you want somebody else to collaborate with, and you can run multiple pages, multiple calendars. It does manages all of your interactions and conversations. You get to go through and say, okay, in my inbox, there's this many things that haven't been done yet, but when they're done, then you close them. So you always know what you've responded to and what you haven't responded to. I think you all know this, but a tip on responding, be sure to respond to everything within 24 hours, not because, that it's good social etiquette, but also because Facebook's on this tear right now where if you don't, they're not going to let you respond and it looks like you didn't respond at all. So try to manage your notifications and have them come through either where you check them 2 or 3 times a day on a piece of software like Loomly, or you have it set up on your phone where they pop up and you can respond to them more quickly. So I think, sites like Loomly and Hootsuite and all these social calendars will help you stay more organized and be more efficient and just do a better job overall. So another tool I want to tell you about that is a lifesaver for me is Canva. You may have seen a commercial for Canva. I absolutely love it because it's not as overwhelming as Photoshop. It's literally drag and drop, and it helps you design posts that are visually and graphically beautiful. So you can go in and say, I'd like some help starting out with a template, and it'll show you templates where there's like a spot for a picture, then a little circle for some words, or a place to put your website. And then you can go into the photo section and grab images that are licensed that you're able to use and drag and drop them into the graphic. And then you can hit the text button, you can add a little text, and you can, if you want to make it dance and jump, you can. But it's a really great way to look professional. So I checked out some of your social media before we got on the call just to see kind of who I was talking to and what we were dealing with. And I noticed that a lot of you use multiple images, which is fantastic. Keep doing that. But if you want to kind of kick that up a notch and take it to the next level, consider taking those images and putting them in a pretty graphic and adding some words to it and making it more of telling a story. Because again, people's attention spans right now are so short that if you can grab their attention with a graphic, then you got a good chance of them going up and reading the text that goes with it, rather than hoping that they understand what you're trying to get them to look at. So for example, if you post a picture of a recent job install and it looks amazing, and you just post that, you don't post, you don't tell a story with it. If you just post that picture, then for example, if I'm in the market for lamps and I'm shopping for lamps and there happens to be a lamp in the picture that you really don't care if anybody sees that or not, but that's what my eye is drawn to. So think about like if you're ever redoing your house and you're trying to pick out front door colors and you drive around the neighborhood, all you see are front door colors, right? So that's what you've got on your mind. You have to direct the person and tell them what you want them to look at. Otherwise, you can't be responsible for what they go look at. So tell them, and it seems kind of basic, but tell them what you want them to look at. You can say, this wide plank floor makes this space look larger, or, the range in this particular wood product is going to be easier to hide dirt and keep clean, or it adds dimension to the room. Whatever it is that's actually happening, just point that out to them and show them. So back to Canva. So you can start the process by saying, I want to create a Facebook post. It will automatically size it for Facebook, for Instagram, or you can even create video. So if you're not comfortable with shooting your own video yet, you can go in and say, hey, I want to create a Facebook video today, or any kind of video, and drag and drop your job photos, and then go on top of those. And you can add, this was the Johnson project, and this was before, and this is, us meeting with them to show them how easy the shop at home process was, or something. You can start telling that story on top of those images, and you literally just hit one button and it turns it into a video. You can take each different slide and say, I want this one to be 5 seconds because there's stuff to read, or I want this to be 2 seconds because, nobody's got the attention span and you want this thing to go faster. So it is it really has helped me step up my game for my clients, because, it's hard enough to get the job site pictures, but taking them and turning them into something that's going to visually catch someone's attention when they're, scrolling quickly through their feed. I just think it's a fantastic tool. So next we can talk about, let's do hashtags for a little bit. So I'm very opinionated about this, but I'm not stuck in my ways. So if anybody wants to call me out or say that you have a different experience, then I'm all for it. I'm all for the conversation. But the thing with hashtags is they weren't properly introduced. Nobody knew what they were or what they were for. The whole point of them is when you put the pound sign in front of anything, that makes it trackable. So anytime somebody wants to learn something about an entire subject, they can search in any social media site and type in hashtag whatever. If you type in hashtag flooring, you're going to see a bunch of flooring dealers and seeing what they're posting. The cool thing about that is from your side that you can go get some ideas of what other flooring dealers are doing throughout the country. But from a Susie homeowner and your target audience standpoint, I've done some polling lately, and I have not found one woman that is in charge of her home, making decisions, that wants to, and it doesn't matter if it's anything from buying a lamp to doing new floors or anything in the home industry. I don't know one woman that starts the process on social media and goes in and types in hashtag flooring in order to see who she's going to buy from and make that buying decision. So I want you to be mindful of using them. So if you will do the exercise of getting on any social media site and searching and following hashtags, I think that's very valuable. So that's over here. But when you're using them in your post, if you are using if you're using Facebook and Instagram and all the different sites, you could definitely use them on Twitter because that's where they started. Use them on Instagram, but try not to use them like necessarily in the sentence. Try to use them after, and do the ... and put them down here where they're not trying to take the attention away, or they're not trying to compete with the attention for what you're actually trying to say. Because remember, we got this limited amount of time to grab somebody's attention, and people's brains don't want to see a bunch of, garbage. Like, people's brains want to read full sentences that they can read to and connect to. So use them on Instagram if you want to, but I encourage you to look at them, look at your stats and your insights and see, if it's helping or if it's not helping. But a couple things I want to tell you to do and not do are, when you're putting your hashtags on Instagram, please don't push your content from Instagram straight to Facebook, because they're two entirely different audiences. The people that are on Facebook, if you think about it, so a little bit older than me, I guess. So like my mom, when Facebook came out, would come get on Facebook to see what I was doing. And she'd get on there and say things like, "Hey, honey, did you like what was in your lunch today?" And what did that do? That chased us all to Instagram. Well, then our parents started following us to Instagram. So then my age, we stayed, but then the kids kept going to Snapchat and then TikTok, and they're going to all of these other sites. But what happens is, the people that are left on Facebook, the fastest growing demographic are women age 55 to 65. I guarantee you, women age 55 to 65, unless you're in the tech business or unless you're in marketing, don't understand it, don't want to see it, and it's going to do more harm than good. That doesn't mean that you can't use them like to sum up a sentence. Like, I love using a hashtag. If you want to say what you want to say, and then you get to the end and you hashtag, like, from a personal, just a thing that came to mind, a personal post, hashtag best day ever. Or if you do a testimonial and you hashtag customer service, something that helps bring the whole point together. That kind of thing is part of the whole storytelling process. But just be mindful and cautious, and don't use hashtags just because they're popular and they, make it look like you know what you're doing. Think about your audience on the other end, and maybe ask them, maybe ask your community, do you follow hashtags, or which hashtags do you follow, and see what kind of feedback you get. But I just want to caution you again, not to use them because they're hot and trendy and it makes you look like an expert. Use them for the right reason. And also with hashtags, don't just use them for the sake of using them. So if you do a 4th of July post, which I do encourage you to do, holiday post, because they get a lot of engagement across all of the clients that I manage. That's one of the highest engaging things, right next to puppies, kittens, and babies. So if you keep doing those, because they're mindless and it's easy for somebody to like, that like is going to help get you some engagement. But do not hashtag floor or flooring on a Happy Memorial Day or 4th of July post, because it has nothing to do with it. If you do a post about LVP, don't hashtag carpet, because if somebody, by chance, who is looking to see everything that's being talked about for carpet, and you put something with LVP, then, that's not what I came for. And that's going to make me mad. And subconsciously, it's going to make me mad attached to your logo. So try to be mindful about what you do with hashtags. I was going to say, I want to get off the soapbox for a minute, but I also want to go back to, if y'all saw the article that Elizabeth posted the other day on hashtags, I encourage you to read that. They're saying that Facebook is going to start rewarding you by giving you more reach if you start using hashtags. If you want to do that, do it as an experiment, but watch your insights and see what's happening. If your engagement starts to go down, knock it off. Start with 3 or less. And don't beat the thing to death. Like, don't add a ton of hashtags at the bottom, because again, visually it's disrupting to the message. And if you're competing with trying to get somebody's brain to focus on the graphic that you put up, or the photo, and the text that you're trying to say, and the hashtag, because the hashtags generally turn colors, that's going to take the attention first. And that's not what you put the hard work in there for. So please be mindful of using your hashtags. And if there's one of you out there that has this ridiculous success with hashtags, get in the group and tell us all about it. And I'll be the first one to say I was wrong, but I don't see it happening. So last thing I want to tell you, a couple of things not to do, just to save you. Please do not go to Google and find an image of something that you like, right click, save as, and steal that image. A, you don't have the rights to it. B, if it's some kind of a photographer, you are taking their work and not paying them for it and not asking permission. Not only is it the right thing to do, but now there is software on the back end of the internet that can go through and find some stuff that's that's in the back of the image that you don't even know is there. They will find out that you stole it. They will send you a bill, and that bill could be anywhere from $50 to $5,000. So don't steal images. You can use images that either you have bought the rights to, you took the picture yourself, you have permission from the customer, you bought them on Adobe stock. And I want to tell you too that there's a site everybody's talking about right now, Unsplash, which is great because it says it's royalty-free images. I don't believe anything image is ever free, and I don't ever believe the flooring installation is free because I do not know any flooring installer that works for free. So there's always a catch. So I read the fine print, and in there it says that something about like I'm going to make this up, but if you had a Star Wars poster in the back of the living room picture that you posted, you have to get permission from Star Wars and from that brand in order to post it. Or in one case, it said that you have to get permission from the model if there is a human in there. How the hell are you supposed to do that? So just if you're going to use image sites, just take the time to read the terms of use, make sure that you have permission. And there are Creative Commons licenses that you can use things that are free. And I don't mean to scare you, but I do want you to be aware that that's something to pay attention to. What else? Try not to talk about price unless you have to. If you are a quick and dirty cash and carry, you can talk about price. But in general, you want to tell your story and you want to get people to connect with you and trust you and see you as the authority and inspire them to the point where they make their decision on their own. If you tell me, me literally, Shannon, and I'm looking to replace my floors, and I'm on social media and I see that you have hardwood for $2.99, that means absolutely nothing to me. That has no bearing on what I actually am going to have to pay you in order to get floors. What is going to trip my trigger is if you show me that you can do something gorgeous that I want. If you show me that your installers are going to show up to the door in branded shirts, so I know that they're not sketchy guys that just got out of the white van. If you show me that they're going to clean up my home or protect my furniture with plastic or something to make me feel less overwhelmed or intimidated by this experience. When you think about women buying flooring, we don't like to do things that we're not good at. We don't like to do things that we aren't experts at. So if we haven't bought floors in 10 years, we already have this level of anxiety and apprehension about what we're doing because we don't know. And this is our home. This is the place where we raise our children, where we, entertain our friends. And it's a very intimate space. So when you're posting your content, think about the fact that you are infiltrating her mind in this intimate space for this intimate place that's really important to her, and try more, instead of talking about price, to talk about a solution that you can provide. For example, if you do, there's a guy somewhere, I think he's in Kentucky, that he does curbless showers. And when he looked at his insights, a lot of his Facebook demographics are older women. And so he frequently does a lot of posts about being able to do curbless showers. Can you imagine being scared of, you want a new shower, but you don't want to slip and fall, and you don't know what you don't know, and you haven't done this in a long time, and you don't know if the whippersnapper is going to take advantage of you because you're old. If that guy were to do a post that eased her mind and gave her confidence and, helped her see how this whole thing was going to go, then chances are she's going to choose him, and she's actually going to choose something more expensive and choose something, a more expensive installation. So on that note, that reminds me, I want to tell you that I'm going to give you a hot tip on Pinterest. If you're on Pinterest, you can pin more than flooring because there's more out there. If you pin things, make a board about entertaining, make a board about, how to set the table or anything that's around entertaining or flooring or anything about the home. Because if somebody sees a party picture or I think the hot thing on Pinterest right now is little charcuterie cups in jars, like little individual ones. If you get somebody in the mindset of, I want to do those little jars, that's going to make me want to throw a party. In order to throw a party, I've got to get my house ready. In order to get my house ready, I need new floors. So there's a lot of things going on in the back of the mind that aren't that direct association with flooring. So I want you to think about using things that aren't just about flooring. But I also want you to think about, because you're women and you will do things that are, next level. For example, if you build a Pinterest board that is for backsplashes or showers, and you build it in a way that it's a visual journey. right? So if your customer comes in and instead of dragging her around the showroom and pulling out samples and, at the end of the day where she's exhausted and your salesperson's exhausted or you're exhausted because you have to, put all these samples back, start the conversation with, hey, are you on Pinterest? Can I look at your Pinterest board? And when you get to see what she likes and what she doesn't like, you have all of the answers right there. If you can get it beforehand and see what she likes and what she doesn't like, chances are you can have 3 or 4 things pulled out and she's going to love it and feel like you know her, especially because you said, I bothered to look at your style and what you like. And the appointment's going to go faster. You're going to sell more expensive installation. You're going to sell a more expensive product. So back to the story. So if you're doing, for example, a shower board and you build it visually in a way where it starts with a 12 by 12 tile, white tile laid straight. Then you show a 16 by 16 beige tile with a little bit of range. Then you show an 18 by 18 on the diagonal. Then you show an 18 by 18 on the diagonal that, maybe has a little bit more range. And then the next one you show a Listello, and then you show a mosaic shower floor. Then you show a shampoo niche. You are visually taking her from, she's scared to death and doesn't know what to do. So she's going to go with basic or what she saw that her neighbor had or the last thing that she had or whatever, somebody's trying to picture that's on sale. But if you can visually take her through and get her more comfortable with something with a little bit more range and something a little bigger, and then something with a decorative piece, and then a shower bench, and then a shampoo niche. Next thing you know, you've sold, again, a more expensive product with a more expensive installation. And not to take her money, but to make her happy. And when she's happy, then she's going to go tell all of her other girlfriends, because once you get a project finished and you go tell your girlfriends, then your girlfriends are going to look at their shower and theirs isn't going to be good enough. So then they're going to need somewhere to go. And this whole beautiful cycle will keep going. So I want to encourage you to use Pinterest as part of as a sales tool. So if you have an iPad or a station where it makes sense to sit down with a customer, start the process by having a conversation and either looking at her Pinterest or showing her yours and saying, hey, let's just start maybe with a style board and say, is this your style? Do you like this? And she goes, oh no, I know that I don't know, modern farmhouse. Then you go to your modern farmhouse board and say, is this what you like? Is this what you don't like? And you can learn so much more quickly about what she wants without overwhelming her and without overwhelming yourself. So I think Michelle wanted this around 30 minutes, which I think we're at 42. So I'm going to knock it off for now. But I want to thank you for your attention. Thank you for your interest. And I'm happy to do this again as long as the group is willing to have me. And my job is to educate you and empower you and make this fun for you and make this something that you can enjoy and tell your story and be seen and be heard. And if we have any questions, I'll hang out. And if not, I hope you all have a great day. And again, thanks for your time and attention. And obviously, if you have any questions, connect with me on social personally. My profiles are wide open. You can check out my business pages if you want some free advice along the way. I'm on social all the time, so feel free to ask questions in the group, and I'm here to help.
Unmute. Hey, Shannon, that was awesome. I took a ton of notes.
Thanks.
So I'm going to put them all together in a document. And if viewers who are watching it now or watching the replay will go to womenflooring.com and drop their email in, I'll send them out that way once I have a list together.
Sounds awesome.
Sound good?
Yes.
I'm checking our comments. We have, what do you think about YouTube?
YouTube is fantastic. It's got a very young demographic in general, but it's great for longer videos and things that you want to do if you want to tell people how to do something. For example, a DIY of how to install laminate flooring. Even if you don't want the DIY crowd, we'll stay on this for a second. I recommend that you do a video to talk about installing DIY laminate flooring, because if you see those Home Depot commercials where they say, it makes it look so easy. It's like, oh, I ran to Home Depot and I picked up this flooring and I put it in the back of my car and I had it done by the time my wife got home from her errands at 4:00 in the afternoon. If you can show a video of what it's really like, I guarantee you that by the time the guy or the girl sees that they have to rent a saw, rent tools, put it in the back of their car, get them out of the car, by the time I had to get a tool out of the car, I'd be done and calling you and begging you to charge me twice as much to come help me. So use YouTube to tell a story, to do longer videos, and also think of using YouTube as a place to house your videos, just so that you can get the link to go post it on your other social sites. So for example, on Instagram, the maximum time for videos is 60 seconds. If you want to post something longer than that, then talk about that, put the link in your bio, and that will drive traffic back to your YouTube channel. It will also allow them to watch a longer video. And also it makes Google very happy because Google owns YouTube. So yes, I recommend using YouTube. If you're only using it to house your videos and you only do one a year, or you only have 3 period and you haven't updated it in 5 years, I would not put a link to that social. I wouldn't put a link to YouTube on your website. I would just use it for what it is. But if you are active on YouTube or any social site, make it easy for people to find you and put your social icons and links on your website. So the answer is yes to YouTube. Okay, I see a question over here. Liz says, when I do PowerPoint, it says to insert photos and they have images from online. I think those are safe to use. And you can obviously use those in a presentation that, like if you're going to speak at TICE like you do, I think those things are fine. But when you put them out on the internet and say that it's your work, that's a whole different thing. So if you are going to do that, shoot me a message later and I'll do the research and make sure and let you know. Everyone wave to my husband and the nice gentleman that's fixing our AC today. Don't be shy. I have no idea if anybody's still here, but if you are still here, please don't hesitate to ask. Yeah, so Liz says she had a customer that was sued. I also had a customer that was sued over a Thanksgiving turkey picture that I guarantee you the Thanksgiving turkey on my table was better looking than, thanks to whoever, was that Stacy? Did you say hi to Kev? That got sued over a Thanksgiving turkey picture, and it was an absolute nightmare, and it was something that could have been avoided. So if any of you work with interior designers, I want to give you the couple of ideas there. They know how hard it is to get content, to get likes and all of those things too. So when you're thinking about social media, think about it just as much. It's like a real life relationship. And in a real life relationship, it's not all one way, and it's not you talking all the time, and it's not you bragging about yourself all the time. It's a two-way street. So if you do work with designers, give them shout outs, feature their work, tag them, go on their pages and say, hey, nice work. And not only because it's the right thing to do, but it also gives you either personally or your company visibility. And it helps them with that whole process of getting more likes and comments, which is going to help their stuff get seen more organically, which is just, it's an easy, good thing to do to help other people out. And if you do work with designers, get outside the box. And I think I wrote about this last month in Floor Covering Weekly, but throw a Pinterest party for designers or for homeowners and have people come in and, go to your IMSA rep and say, hey, can I get a box of mosaics? And take those mosaics, give everybody a picture frame from the dollar store, wine and cheese the night, have everybody make these picture frames. And when they take them home, every time they see them and put a picture of them and put it on their coffee table or on their console table, they're going to think of you and they're going to think of that time. And I guarantee you nobody else is doing that for them. So if you do things like that, because it's social, I don't care if you don't do anything, with flooring or flooring related. If you have a Pinterest party where you say, hey, everybody come in and bring the stuff to make the pin that you've been actually dying to make because nobody ever makes them because we're all, we're too busy pinning all the time. Then it's just a girls' night out that is in your showroom and, and it gets that whole feel good relationship thing. And I think I also put in that article another good idea, which was throw a soup can drive or a blanket drive for cancer where somebody, she has to walk all the way through your showroom to drop off the thing or donate the thing. And when women do that, when we walk all the way through and we feel good about it on the way back, we're going to feel so good. We might want to do something for ourselves. So if there was a beautiful backsplash or an area rug or something that I wanted to reward myself for doing a good deed, then that's just it's a win-win, and it's also community minded. Yeah, I'm telling you all, the picture frame thing is the easiest thing in the world. Go get a frame from the dollar store, get a couple of hot glue guns, and and I don't know, ask one of your manufacturers or distributors if they want to sponsor it. Wouldn't be expensive. A little bit of wine, a little bit of snacks. I probably make everybody sign a disclaimer if you're serving wine, but getting a community of women together or getting a community of designers together is it's easy and it's fun. And then you've got social content because then you're posting about the party and then people are tagging and inviting friends. And, it truly is a social experience. And I'll tell you too, if you're not having fun right now with your social media and it feels like a drain, as my husband would say, you're just not doing it right. And all that means is you're not doing the whole pie. You're doing one piece of the pie. So really think about the actual human connection, social element that's missing, and, do something in real life or do something with other humans that is postable and it'll make it more fun. Anything else? I'm just going to tell you things as I think of them until Michelle tells me to hang up. I have a client, Virginia, that started tagging Emser in her post, mostly because they ask her to, because of you can use their images most of the time if you just give them credit. And her local reps would see it. They would share it. Some other local rep would see it. And this is all on LinkedIn. And she is getting so much more free organic engagement and traffic just by tagging the brand. So find that balance of, you don't want to promote the brand more than you promote your own brand, but every once in a while, give a shout out to the manufacturer or distributor and see if that helps with getting some of your juice going. And I got one more soapbox. If Michelle, can you give me a thumbs up if I can get on one more soapbox? Okay, so Michelle wants me to tell you what I do and how to reach me. So my job literally is all things social media. So I help companies create content. I can manage your entire presence if you're overwhelmed and it's not something you can do. If you have someone in the house that can do this, but needs training, I can train them on how to be your social media manager. We can work in tandem where I started out, they take it over. I can do one-on-one training. I can come to your store and do a social media boot camp and do, everything from taking pictures and helping and teaching your employees how to use social media in the business to, not be so overwhelmed. I do social media advertising, reputation management, but all I do is social media. So no Google, no pay-per-click. I don't build websites. I have people that I can refer to for that, but everything I do is all social because it changes all the time. And it's what I'm passionate about. So if there's anything that I can do to help your business, you can email me at shannon@reachsocial.media, not .com, it's reachsocial.media. You can text me, call me, 303-883-2110. Find me on any social site and talk to me in the group, because if you ask questions in the group, then chances are somebody else has got that same question and you're helping a female out. So don't hesitate to ask for that. And so I'll try to end on my last soapbox. So a lot of people find Promo Box really exciting because they can either set it and forget it, or there's, free social content. I want to encourage you to think about Promo Box for what it is and don't use it from a cookie cutter standpoint. So the benefits of it are using it because manufacturers have put images and messaging that they approve that's okay for you to use. And, we all know how hard it is to get images. You can also call all of your reps and say, hey, get me in touch with marketing. And chances are marketing can get you a Dropbox folder or some, site or connection to get you images to use. But if you're using them on Promo Box, I want you to remember, that those manufacturers are talking about their brand and promoting their brand. So you can use that every once in a while if you want to, but I would encourage you to customize that content where you're still using that picture and talking about that product, but you're promoting your brand, not the manufacturer. I also want to encourage you not to set it and forget it, because if you think about it, every other person in your town or your community also gets to use Promo Box. So if you automate it, everybody's posting the same thing. So if somebody is trying to decide who they're going to, the first step that they're going to do when they're trying to decide if they're going to get new flooring is, maybe they go check out your website, maybe they go check out your social first. But if they're checking out you and 3 other people and you all have the same content that's all saying, manufacturer, 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 then it's not telling your story and it's not creating a connection. So get in there and change the words. And a lot of people don't realize that you can scroll through and there's multiple options, but take the image, put it in your voice, not the manufacturer's voice. And again, you don't want to talk about product all the time because then you're missing out on culture opportunities and all of those other things. But when you do talk about product, promo boxes can be a good home base start, but don't let it be your everything. And I noticed recently in the last year or so, I'm not sure if it was Mannington or not, but one of the manufacturers has started taking the images and getting them from other dealers. So if you're not careful, you could be posting an image that gives credit to your competitor. That's not what people that are trying to decide if they want to do business with you, that's not what they want to see. It's going to be very confusing. So be very, very mindful of when you're posting these things. Check and see if it is tagging, who it's tagging, and don't assume that it's somebody that makes sense. A lot of the articles in there, when you go click on the article, is going to take you either to a competitor or to an e-commerce site or something that is in direct competition with you. So again, I encourage you, if you want to use it, just be mindful of it and use it as a tool, but don't let it be your whole presence and don't let it automate your story. And, that's like letting somebody else, when you're going on a first date, that's like letting somebody else show up and talk about the restaurant instead of talking about you, and you're not even getting to say anything. So just be mindful of that. You are so welcome. I will tell you too, I saw a picture on there that, say the picture was this big and it was about flooring. There was this much flooring and this much of the picture was an electrical outlet that had no cover on it. So when you take that and you post that and attach that to your name, that's not good. So just be mindful of those things. I'd rather you post less than post the, things that aren't good. And if anybody right now needs 2 Advil and a shot of whiskey, that's okay. Know that this stuff will trickle out of your brain when it's supposed to. I gave you a lot of information and I talk really fast. So just let the parts that absorb and resonate with you, let those come out, and try to remember to only do and manage what you can do well. If you get fired up after this class and you want to be on everything, then I would encourage you to take a look at it and not get overwhelmed and not put yourself in a position where you're going to burn out, but just do what you can do well. I want to thank the ladies of the Women in Flooring group. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I love educating anyway, but when I can educate and empower women, that is part of my purpose. So I sincerely appreciate the opportunity. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I will see you online, and don't hesitate to reach out. Take care.